Alright there, geezers, Jules here from FGS, home of the Future Games Show, and I tell ya, is there anything paradoxically worse or better than finding an extra dollop of horror in a video game that had no right being scary? For the horror purists out there, this is like getting a bedtime kiss on the forehead from H.R. Bloody Geiger. Such is their love of the genre. But for us mere mortals, it can cause blood to run cold or our bathwater to turn brown. Still, we have to respect the craft and effort that some devs go to in order to sneak a scare in under the radar, and I too have a spooky surprise for you. Because that's right, the gruesome twosome are back again. Josh is here as well, the resident horror expert from the Future Game Show, and we are collaborating together on this list. It is going to be 8 times that video games, non-scary ones, had super scary moments. And you know the drill by now, this is the Deep Cut with Jules Gill. Baby! So that means that there is going to be lots of games that you haven't heard of before, games you need to know more about, or games you haven't thought about in a while. So let's kick things off with number 8. Drawn to Life, the next chapter. Now, upon starting up Drawn to Life, the concept of horror might appear to be one that is as far away as the bloody bailiffs that I sent to the wrong address. Yet, unfortunately, just like those arseholes that are looking to repossess my shed for payments made in seeds and lint, the horror is most definitely coming for you, my friend, but you just don't know when. Now, Drawn to Life, for those not in the know, is a cutesy puzzle platformer in which you, the Picasso of Porth Cool, can take the stylus of the DS or Wiimote to draw items into the world as well as design your own avatar. It's a delightful romp filled with utter silliness as you can interact with weird creatures, battle the darkness, and then leap over pits thanks to your custom platforms that read cloud.exe. I'm too lazy to draw it properly. You're lucky they're not penises. However, there is something not quite right about this fantasy world, and it all centers around one human NPC that you encounter in the main village. He seems quite confused and disorientated and never really can quite understand what's going on around him. And he also bears no impact on the main plot whatsoever, so it just seems like a random curio or possible developer oversight. In fact, it's actually not until the sequel Drawn to Life, the next chapter, that we really understand what's going on here, as in the credits to this game, you find out that you were actually inside that young lad's dreams as a car accident has sent him into a coma. Even worse is that both of his parents died in the accident and his sister is also severely injured. Suddenly, the meaning of the games change, and Drawn to Life warps from being about creative expression to you actively fighting to save this young lad's mind from being consumed by the darkness, which we can only assume is a representation of actual death. I can honestly say this was, much like his parents found out, a turn I did not see coming. I did not feel good about that joke.
7. Epic Mickey. I went to Disneyland last week and honestly I was disappointed that it was nothing like what I was sold in Epic Mickey. I mean, it's a small world, didn't even try to eat me. If you don't know one of the very few good third-party Wii games, it has you play as Mickey Mouse after having stolen a magic brush that sprays either paint or thinner wherever you point it. Over the course of the magical mousy adventure, you'll discover all the lost and abandoned characters and places from Disney history. And if you're wondering how a Mickey Mouse game could possibly get scary, well, this is what Donald Duck looks like in the game. Okay, sure, you probably know about the imagery of desolation and decay throughout this game, and the existential horror of being forgotten and abandoned by your creator, but did you know that this game was actually going to be a lot scarier? The game's creators originally wanted to feature some really frightening enemies and imagery, a lot of it taking cues from the animatronics from the Disney parks. Like this horrific piece of concept art I like to call Bad Moments with Mr. Lincoln, or literally any of these mortifying monstrosities. And they got past the sketch phase too. Here's Mickey facing off against a John Carpenter's The Thing copy of himself, amongst many other strange and frightening monsters, at least by the standards of the mouse. It's strange to think that we could have had a game starring the mascot of the biggest conglomerate in media that looked like this.
Number 6. Ping. you're all dead. Okay, my friends. Now, the next entry is one that I'm very happy to share with you, not only because it is such a deep cut of impressive magnitude, but it also allows me to promote a person that I've actually worked with in the past who has such a skill for the Easter egg hunting that he actually made it his bloody name. Now, this cheeky little fella here is James, and he is, as the name of his channel promotes, an avid Easter egg hunter. He often goes above and beyond when it comes to searching out the most unique and strange secrets that are hiding in our favourite titles, and even further when it came to Ping, because it is A game that's not been on anyone's radar, B, because it will scare the utter out of you, and C, because it required reaching out to the game's creator to have them actually unveil the secret hidden within this otherwise charming title. Now, Ping, for like 99% of its runtime, is a cutesy puzzle game which requires you to collect diamonds, use traps to defeat enemies, and work towards the goal of rescuing your ball-based girlfriend. I'm not entirely sure how collecting diamonds helps rescue her, but at least you can afford a P&O cruise around the Canary Islands, or, I don't know, keep the heating on in your house for like a week here in the UK. Yet, I digress, because when Ping decides to access the other 1% of its runtime, you'll wish it hadn't, because what awaits you is a horrific series of messages accompanied by a terrifying noise. Now, to access this secret, James details in this video that you must middle click on this button and then locate a single pixel somewhere here over the logo presented in the credits screen, and your reward for all of this is a message saying, "You are dead and you're all dead." Now, James was even rewarded further by the game's creator, who also sent over a third unused text screen which reads, "He's right behind you." Cheers.
Number 5, the Game Boy camera. Yes, okay, you can stop shouting at me. I know this isn't technically a game, but it is on a games console, and I'm willing to bet money you didn't expect this to be on here, eh? Imagine being back in 1998. I can't personally, that is the year I was born. And having not only a game system that you can take out and about with you, but you can stick a camera on it and take pictures? What will they think of next? Well, did you know that there are a bunch of Easter eggs that demonstrated the cool things you could do with the camera in its different modes? Drawing little pictures on photos, adding text frames with different modes like shoot, play, and run? Yeah, one of the modes, albeit an Easter egg mode, was just called Run, and when you clicked on it, it showed you this. In fact, there were a few images that could be displayed in Run mode. And sure, if you think about it for a moment, this is definitely just a little joke with another demo of what you can do with the camera, but finding a secret mode with uncanny images of strangers and a vaguely intimidating message was a scary enough event for young people at the turn of the millennium that it led to a bunch of insane rumors about what it could be, because for anyone who wasn't there in the early days of the modern internet, before it was just 3 bland websites under so much corporate control that you can't even call them social media now, the only things people had to do was make websites that cause epilepsy and try to trick people into thinking every piece of media ever has ghosts in it. According to the Creepypasta wiki, it is believed that these pictures are the result of a kidnapping done by a strange cult. The man with the star on his forehead is the leader, and the people with waves on their faces are the disciples. The face with no symbols and a scowl is the unlucky victim. Now, why this cult would then contact Nintendo and have them put their crimes into the Nintendo camera is never really explained, but things rarely are in Creepypasta.
Number 4, Phoenix Wright crosses with Dino Crisis. Now, when the words Dark Secrets and Phoenix Wright come up, you probably normally think of the myriad clients and guilty parties that you encounter throughout this game. As it turns out that the truth is but a mere concept to most of the cast, and the murderers, thieves, and truly evil people, well, they're mostly just standing right in front of you. However, the truly dark and terrifying detail that we're covering today actually doesn't relate to any of the cases that you help to solve, and comes in the form of an Easter egg that only the most savvy of Capcom fans would have a chance of understanding. Say hello, my friends, to the wonderful Borginian Republic, a lovely holiday destination filled with outstanding architecture, beautiful locales, and only, of course, a small chance of rabid dinosaur outbreak. Yeah, that probably wasn't advertised by the travel board, but it is most definitely true as per the evidence shown by the Dino Crisis series, which takes takes place right inside the Borginian Republic and is referenced in the Ace Attorney series during one of its cases. Now, for fans of Dino Crisis, which should be everyone if I had my own way, which would finally then force Capcom to actually remake this series, this was a pretty terrifying moment, as it now means that at any point we could have our interrogations interrupted by velociraptor attacks, or even worse, have characters remind us how smelly Dino Crisis 3 was. The horror! And weirdly enough, this connection is seemingly deepened by the appearance of the three main characters from Dino Crisis in the Ace Attorney anime, as Regina, Rick, and Gale all appear, albeit in forms that are almost unrecognizable to long-term fans. Were they brainwashed? Are they clones? Who knows? But this secret connection really does propose a dark future for Phoenix Wright and his pals.
Number 3, Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. Alright, I just wanted to bring back a classic. You'd think this game wouldn't do a good job in hiding its scarier elements considering the title, but you'd also probably be surprised. In SJSM, you have to make your way through 1,000 rooms in order to gain a reward. A cute cartoon ghost named Spooky greets you, and if you look at the screenshots of the game, you can see that all of the jump scares are just little cardboard cutouts that appear when you least expect it. Spooky fun for the whole family, right? Right? Well, if you haven't played the game already, which you should because it's completely free, then you might be surprised when the rooms start looking a bit different and things start appearing that aren't so cute and cartoony. There's a surprising amount of enemies and lore to uncover in the game, and the randomly generated nature means that you're guaranteed to see something new every time you play. I feel like this game's been sadly forgotten since its 2015 release. It'd be great to see people rediscovering this game in 2024. And again, it's a free 4-ish hour game on Steam right now.
Number 2, Miss World 96 Nude. Okay, my friends. Now, I won't lie to you. The following game, Miss World 96 Nude, is one of those top-shelf naughty no-nos, put the hair on the palm of your hands and make you go blind titles, or should that be tittles, because it is a porn game. No, I'm just reading my script again. That was a spelling mistake. It is actually titles. And I know what you're thinking. A pseudo-porn game appearing in a YouTube list in 2024? What about the children? What about the AdSense? What about them jubblies, Jules? Stop talking and show me those perky pixelations. Well, to that I say, firstly, calm down before you rub a hole in your trousers, and secondly, we're only going to show blurred footage so you can just stop sweating, Mark, my editor over here. I'm not going to get you into hot water this early on. And finally, my friend, you are not going to want to spend much time looking at this title, as Miss World 96 Nude is actually, and secretly, a bloody horror game. I say this because while the main thrust of the action, as it were, is using this pilled-up Pac-Man fella to munch away at the objects covering up these Rudy nudies, the game actively punishes gawkers looking to savor this salivating content by use of an in-game timer, which, when it drops to low, shifts the image of a woman into, well, as if an echidna's penis was possessed by Freddy Krueger. It's a definite boner killer, that is for sure, and it is one that you definitely won't see coming, nor will you be able to do so after seeing it. That'll teach you for trying to do a peep and creep, you filthy animals. Ew.
Number 1, Drowned God, Conspiracy of the Ages. Okay, let's end off with an obscure one. That's right, it's the piano from Mario 64. Mario 64 is a great time, but we all remember going into this room and seeing... Okay, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. It was a joke. And I wanted to start with a joke because this next entry's gonna get a little heavy.
Yes, I do actually have to just ratify this. This is going to get dark.
Drowned God, Conspiracy of Ages has had some attention in recent years as all the details surrounding its creation have come to light. It was previously a game that had faded into obscurity, a pretty standard for the time point-and-click adventure about an alternate fantasy world where aliens created humanity for their own nefarious purposes and all of human history was a lie. The thing is though, to the creator of this game, this wasn't a fantasy. The creator, Richard Horn, was an actual conspiracy theorist who claimed to have based the game on a manuscript he had in his possession that was at one point found to be a real manuscript from the 1800s, which was helped by the fact the author's name is the same as a well-known poet who was renowned for his interest in ancient gods, before later being found out as a fake of his own creation. Obviously, Horn couldn't sell this manuscript now, and it was so easy to find out that it was a fake, so he decided to make a video game purporting the same ideas. It's hard to tell how much of the game's narrative was for creative purposes, a conspiracy grift, or how much he actually believed. It takes you to Atlantis, ancient Egypt, and for some reason Aleister Crowley is a demonic balloon. The Obscuratory's Phil Salvador describes the game as one that tricks you into believing the conspiracy, placing paranoia above reason and celebrating the discovery of a grand unifying knowledge that exists because it has to. In a time when conspiracy theories are being disseminated left and right more than ever across the whole world, it's actually a little frightening in and of itself to see something that contains many of the ideas that are still being touted today by theorists and con artists across the world. Horn seems to have been a charismatic guy though, because he managed to get a pretty decent team on board with the game, including Mark Burgess from the Chameleons on music and Greg Bolton, who was an animator that worked on Peter Gabriel's iconic Sledgehammer music video. This story gets darker though. I can't find much information about Horn's life between the creation of the game and his tragic death in 2007, but we do know some details about what went down. But what we do know is that his wife was found dead, seemingly stabbed by her husband 30 times, along with their family pets, after which he turned the blade on himself, mutilating himself with almost 50 self-inflicted stab wounds, from which he died. It's also reported that earlier that night, he was shouting some pretty concerning things from within their home. Horn's story is a cautionary tale about the power of belief and the harm that can come from allowing fear to rule you. There are many similar cases of media like this, such as Temple OS amongst others, and it's important that we don't allow paranoid thinking like this to become normalized and rationalized in society. Right now though, I think it's time we have a bit of a pick-me-up before we close out, so here's the piano from Super Mario 64. I think I just need to sit down, quite honestly. Let's go to the outro, yeah?
And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 non-horror games that were hiding dark secrets. I hope that you enjoyed that, and thank you very much, Josh, for helping me with this list. I appreciate it. I appreciate you as well. It's nice to work together and be here in Bath, and it's just nice to be able to do more content like this. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
I had a great time.
Fantastic, and I did not pay him, well, that much to say that. So if you want to chat to us on the social medias, you can do so by following me over here, which I've covered Josh's face, and you can follow Josh over here, which is covering my face. Isn't that a treat? And you can follow Marks, who is our lovely editor, who is covering both of our faces right now. But if you want to chat to us in the meantime, you can leave your comments down below and let us know what you thought about this video and what other things you'd like to see from us in the future. But before we shoot off into the distant future, hope you're treating yourself well with love and respect, my friend, because you deserve all the best things in life, like love, happiness, and success. We all do as human beings, and I hope that you're achieving your life goals out there. Go and smash it, you massive ledge. But until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye! Test, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello, is this coming through? I see a red light on the top of the camera. Moment, as it now means that at any point we could have our I'll do that one more time from the top.
They should remake that. I don't know.
They definitely need to. They definitely need to.
I've got a theory.
Yeah?
I've got a theory.
Is it a game theory?
It is a game theory.
You're going to love the ending one to this, Mark. It's a porn game. Enjoy. Right.
At least by the standards of the mouse. No, that doesn't make sense. Can you scroll up? I must have read that wrong.
Hello.
All of the cool things you could do with the camera and its different modes, drawing little pictures on photos, adding text, frames, the text is a little small for me, if I'm honest.
Sure, we set.